Hey guys, it's another beautiful day in Oklahoma here, northeastern Oklahoma. It is Monday, and yes, Mondays can be beautiful too. What is it, November 15th, I believe? And we are in the 70s. I feel sorry for all of you guys that have to put your motorcycles away for the winter. That is why I no longer live up in Minnesota. But down here, I'll ride year-round. A lot of people down here still put their motorcycles away for the winter because they don't know what real winter is. Anyway, but I'm going to talk about a subject today that I just happened to pop into my mind while I was working, and it seems like motorcycling has become more dangerous as of lately. Like there's more fatalities, more crashes. And why is that? Is social media making our hobby more dangerous? Let's talk about that and see what I think. Now this is just my perspective. You can come to your own conclusions, do your own research, whatever. But here's what I see. So I looked up motorcycle fatalities because you can't really look up crashes because a lot of people don't report their crashes. They pick their bike up, have their buddy come and get them, load it in a truck and take it home. Whether they don't have insurance, they don't want to mark their insurance, whatever. So crashes aren't very accurate. Fatalities though are accurate because authorities have to be involved when there's a fatality. So I went way back to the 60s just to see what the fatality rate was on motorcycle. Now there's a number of things that are going to make these rates change, but we're going to look at all of them. So in 2000, now these numbers aren't exact because I'm riding and I don't have a sheet of paper in front of me or the internet in front of me or whatever. But in 2000, there was about 2,500 fatalities in the United States on motorcycle. In 2010, that jumped to like 4,400. And it consistently went up through the years, those 10 years. Now in 2020, we've had 5,500. So it jumped even more. Why is that? Now a lot of people, we've become a society of laying blame on other people or other things other than taking blame ourselves. So right away, every time you post any sort of stats about motorcycles and accidents and fatalities, right away everybody goes, it's because of all the cagers on their phones. No. I'm going to take that stat out of there right now because in 2000, everybody had cell phones. Everybody had free talk and text. Social media hadn't really taken hold yet because the internet was pretty new. So we didn't have it on our phones really. You know, the internet was pretty new. So social media hadn't really taken hold. Now, big jump. It almost doubled it to 2010, right? Well, in 2010, social media had taken hold. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they all pretty much cemented their foothold on the web and have continued to grow ever since. And the statistics show it. Now, it's jumped even more as of lately, right? So let's look at a few things why that might be. Now I'm going to go back actually before I do that. Before 2000, the fatality rate was pretty consistent year by year. I mean, there were some years that were a little higher and there were some years that were a little lower, but it was pretty consistent in that 2 to 2,500 range fatalities per year. So now let's go back to looking at why that may be. So the first thing we'll look at is there are probably a lot more people riding motorcycle nowadays than there were back in the past. Why is that? Well, social media has opened people's eyes that generally back in the day would have never even dreamt of riding motorcycle. Back in the day, unless you had a really close friend or you grew up in a family that rode, you probably wouldn't ride yourself. Especially if you were a girl. I mean, first off, way back in the day, you know, it was kind of taboo for girls to do anything that was a boy's hobby, right? And if they did, they were kind of an outcast. I mean, they had a lot of guy friends and stuff like that, but they weren't, it wasn't the social norm, put it that way. Which, it's sad, and we've come a long way since then, right? So, we get to 2000, we're still in that 2500 range, but we've got cell phones. Everybody's got cell phones. Everybody's talking and texting all the time on their cell phones while driving. Didn't really make a difference. 2010, social media takes hold. YouTube starts showing people motorcycling, beautiful places, stuff like that. People's eyes start opening, and all of a sudden we've got more people riding. Now, the more people riding isn't necessarily the dangerous part. The dangerous part is it's more beginners. And it's more older beginners. Older beginners are worse than young beginners because older beginners kind of get the mindset after they've learned so much that they know enough, or that they know it all. And they don't, you know, they don't. You never know it all. I've been riding for 40 years and I still listen to people's suggestions. I still watch how to do things because there's different ways to do things that might work better for some and not for others. You can never stop learning. So, the social media has brought motorcycling into the limelight and brought more people to the hobby, which is great. It's going to keep the hobby alive. Now, let's look at something that should be making motorcycling safer nowadays. Motorcycles are safer nowadays. Traction control, wheelie control, you know, they've got automatic transmissions or DCT transmissions. They've got all this stuff that makes motorcycling so much easier, and the motorcycle helps keep you in control. I mean, there's a lot more aids than that on some of these motorcycles, but these are just some of the major aids that come on almost all motorcycles nowadays. You got power modes where you can lower your power modes settings, you know. I mean, all this stuff, ABS brakes, better braking systems, better suspensions, better tires, better chassis geometry and ergonomics that make the bike handle better. I mean, everything has made the bikes safer, but yet our fatalities are going up. So you look at that, why are the fatalities going up? Well, if we look at the bikes, we could say that the bikes are dumbing the people down. You used to have to be able to learn how to ride a motorcycle back in the day. Now, you just have to be able to learn how to ride the motorcycle, and the motorcycle does most everything else for you. So that's one thing to look at as far as it could be affecting it. Let's go back to social media. Social media is not only bringing motorcycling to the spotlight, but it's bringing the type of motorcycling into the spotlight too. So you've got your big bike rallies and your big cruisers, right? You got the certain kind of people that really think that's cool. So they go out and they buy themselves a $40,000 Harley or a $30,000 Goldwing, or, you know, any sort of big, heavy cruiser. Never ridden anything before, and they're really not ready for that bike. I mean, it's no different than a kid going out and buying a 1000cc sport bike. You're not ready to handle an 800, 900 pound bike. You need to start out on a smaller bike. So you got these guys. Now you're dangerous. fatalities, whatever. Then you go to the you know, they try to go to these rallies, or they try to go to roads, which social media has brought to everybody's attention too. But the rallies have been brought to attention by social media a lot more than they were. Roads have been brought to people's attention. Now, there are roads that even intermediate riders are not ready for. I mean, Tail of the Dragon's one I'm going to bring up because everybody's heard of it. It isn't necessarily the most technical, hardest road to ride around, but it is a lot harder and more technical than probably over half the roads in the United States. So all of a sudden, all these people, they've been riding for a couple years and mostly on straight roads, and they're like, I'm going to Tail of the Dragon. They crash. Or in the area out there, period. You know, the roads out there, there's a lot of roads that are even harder to ride than Tail of the Dragon. They end up crashing on those. Those arcs where I'm at here, same thing. I mean, there's roads here that intermediate riders should not be on, especially on a big, heavy motorcycle. They're hard enough to ride normally, much less trying to ride them in the twisties. So, those are two things social media has really brought people to, are different motorcycling roads and events, rallies and stuff like that. The third thing I want to look at that social media has brought to light is all the cool things we can do on motorcycles, right? Riding wheelies, dragging our knee, getting rid of our chicken strips, you know, doing burnouts, doing stoppies, jumping. I mean, and then doing all the tricks you can do when you're jumping, you know. There are so many things that are so cool when you watch them on the internet, but are so dangerous and require a lot of skill. So, people get on there and they see this and they're like, oh, I want to be just like that. And I'm not going to bring up any specific names of social media stars. You guys can go out and search them all yourself. But there's a lot of them out there that have millions of followers all over the world, and these followers want to be just like them. So they go out and try and do what these people on YouTube are doing, and they are not ready for it. And even if you are ready for it, a lot of these YouTubers are crashing too and are really lucky that they're not dead. But that gets them views, right? And close calls get views. I mean, any close call video that I post gets a ton of views compared to the rest of my videos. So, and I'm sure if I posted crash videos, you know, of me crashing, that would really get a lot of views. And I'd get the good and the bad comments from it, etc. I don't plan on crashing. Nobody plans on it. Hopefully it doesn't ever happen, but you never know. So, that is one of the main things I think that's causing a lot of issues. You know, you got people that think you can go out because you're on a motorcycle, you can ride 100 miles an hour and split traffic. Now, the only state that is legal to split traffic in is California. And there's a legal way to do it. If you actually read the statute on splitting lanes, most of the people in California are doing it illegally too. Now, the other thing is, oh, cops can't chase me on my motorcycle because, and this is spread all over the social media, right, on the internet. Cops can't chase me because it endangers my life. No. The wording is, in any high-speed pursuit, the cop has the decision to make if it is safe to chase the assailant. Generally, if you're in town, they're not going to chase, whether you're in a car, motorcycle, whatever, unless it's a major infraction that you've done. they're going to let you go because it's not worth the risk. And it's not your life they're worried about. You're making that decision for yourself, for your life. It's everyone else's life that you're going to be endangering by running. So if you do get chased and they do take you out and you get hurt or killed, that was your choice. Freedom of choice. There you go. So social media has really glorified a lot of this stuff, you know, and it's really made a lot of people stupid. But in the end, I mean, we can go on and on and on and on and on and talk about subjects and subjects and subjects and subjects and subjects on this matter. But in the end, every one of the things I mentioned, it comes down to you as an individual. You are the only one that can make your riding safe. Riding around cars. Is a car going to pull you in front of you or cut you off? They sure are, because they do it to other cars. They don't see it. Cars have blind spots. They might not be paying attention. Yeah, they might be on their phone, whatever. But you have to expect it. Whether you're in your car or on your motorcycle, you have to expect it and be watching for it. Ride or drive defensively. Boy, this sun is brutal going this direction. Anyway, if you ride thinking that everybody's going to be able to see you, whether you have high vis on, whether whatever, you know, and that's another subject we can talk about is gear. Gear has gotten better over the years, and people have started wearing gear more, but yet the fatalities are up, right? So there's another reason that's causing fatalities to go up at more of a rate than stuff that's helping save us go down. Oh, I just lost track of what I was talking about. But anyway, my thoughts on the whole matter is social media in its own ways has made our hobby more dangerous. Whether it's because it's brought more people to the hobby or it's promoting dangerous acts. It's doing both. It also promotes safety, but most people don't watch the videos that are safe because they're boring, right? Most of my riding videos don't get that many views because overall it's exciting for me to watch it and kind of see what I did wrong in certain curves and stuff and see if I can better my riding, etc., etc. But maybe not for other people unless they're doing the same thing. But for the most part, people are watching the close calls, the dangerous acts, the high speed stuff, because that's more exciting to watch. And that's what it promotes. And kids are very influential, right? So they're going to see this stuff and they're going to want to do it. I was a kid once. I used to watch ABC's Wide World of Sports. And I'd watch motocross and I'd watch, you know, enduros and hare scrambles and all this stuff, and boy, I wanted to do that too, and I did. I went out and built ramps, and I jumped, and I jumped ditches, and I, you know, did whatever I could until I went to the track for the first time, and, you know, and we even did some of the stunting stuff just because we did it and didn't even think about it because there weren't video cameras. We didn't know anything about it, but I used to stand up on my seat on my motorcycle and balance going down the highway. Stick my butt out and wiggle it at people while I was riding a wheelie, you know, whatever. I mean, riding wheelies forever, not think anything of it. It's just what we did. But, so my 2 cents is, yes, I think social media has made the hobby more dangerous. Is it any one part of social media that's made it more dangerous? No. But social media itself is a lot to blame for the double in fatalities. It'd be interesting if we could get actual facts on crashes themselves too, because man, the crashes from stunting and stuff have to be phenomenal. But you guys can let me know what you think, or even make videos on the subject and go into more detail, whatever you want to do. I don't want this video to be much longer. I mean, it's already gotten pretty long. And I'm going to be on one of my favorite roads to ride where I just want to have fun. So I'm going to let you guys go for now. Adopt, don't shop. We will catch you on the flip side. Ride safe, guys.